What happens when a young African soldier defies the most powerful nations on earth? Why did the people of Burkina Faso rise up in defense of their leader after a single statement from an American general? And is this the beginning of Africa's second liberation, or the start of something far more dangerous? In this powerful and emotional story, we take you deep inside the heart of West Africa, to the gold mines, the war zones, and the streets filled with revolution. You'll hear the voices of the people, the secrets behind closed doors, and the global powers now watching every move of Captain Ibrahim Traoré. Stay with us till the very end, because what you're about to hear is not just news, it's history in the making.
Thousands of people rallied in Burkina Faso's capital, Ouagadougou, on Wednesday in support of transit.
On April 21st, Traoré's government announced they had stopped a coup. Several people were arrested in the middle of the night. The streets of the capital were tense, but by morning, everything was calm again. Captain Traoré appeared on television and said, "The enemies of Burkina Faso are trying to divide us, but we are awake, and we will not fall." Even as the people show their support, the war continues. Terrorist groups still control parts of the countryside. Millions have been displaced. Schools in some regions remain closed. Food and medicine are hard to find. But hope remains. The people believe that with the right leadership and without foreign interference, they can rebuild. A young girl named Fanta said during the rally, "Captain Traoré gave me a school in my village. He gave me a future. I will shout his name until the world hears us." Whether you support him or not, one thing is clear. Captain Ibrahim Traoré has become a symbol of African resistance. His story is not just about Burkina Faso. It is about an entire continent saying, "We want to stand on our own feet." And on that day when the world watched, the people of Burkina Faso sent a message that was loud, clear, and unforgettable. This is our land. This is our gold. This is our fight. A few days after the massive rally, under heavy military guard, Captain Traoré met with his top generals and close advisors in a secured bunker near Ouagadougou. The meeting was secret. No phones, no cameras. There were growing concerns about foreign spies and sabotage. Reports had come in that drones, possibly American, were spotted flying over gold mining areas. Traoré, calm but serious, looked around the room. "They are watching us," he said. "Not because we are weak, but because they fear what we might become." He ordered the military to tighten surveillance around national resources, especially gold mines. Any foreign operative caught near them was to be treated as a threat. Rumors began to swirl in international media that Russian advisors had arrived in Burkina Faso, some wearing unmarked uniforms, others working quietly in the background. Burkina Faso's government did not confirm or deny. Privately, Traoré trusted a few Russian officers who helped him create stronger defense strategies. One of them, known only as Colonel Victor, had experience from Syria and Donbass. He was now seen in Ouagadougou, entering the defense ministry late at night. The West grew nervous. Is Traoré turning the Sahel into a Russian stronghold? U.S. media asked. But Traoré made one thing clear. "I will work with anyone who respects our sovereignty, whether East or West." Meanwhile, in Abuja, Nigeria, ECOWAS leaders were holding emergency meetings. Some, like Senegal and Ghana, wanted to place sanctions on Burkina Faso. Others, like Togo and Guinea, asked for dialogue. A leaked document suggested that ECOWAS was considering military intervention to restore democratic order. But public opinion in West Africa was shifting. Millions of young people, especially online, began to say, "Democracy has brought us poverty. Maybe we need something stronger first." Across the region, the image of Traoré in military uniform, raising his fist, became an online symbol of African pride. Then, just as the nation was calming down, tragedy struck again. In the eastern city of Fada Ngourma, heavily armed terrorists attacked a military checkpoint. The battle lasted 5 hours. 12 soldiers were killed, and the terrorists disappeared into the bush. Captain Traoré appeared on TV that night, his face tired but firm. They want us to lose focus. But let me remind them, we are not backing down. Not now, not ever. He announced the creation of a special People's Defense Force, volunteers trained by the army to defend their villages. Over 10,000 young men and women signed up within a week. In the village of Zabre, a young mother named Salimata trains with a wooden rifle. She says, "I don't want my children to grow up running from gunshots. I will stand and fight." In Kaya, an old war veteran, Bamba, teaches boys how to dig trenches. He says, "When we were under colonial rule, we fought with stones. Now, we have purpose. That's more powerful than weapons." Traoré's message was working. He wasn't just leading a country, he was leading a movement. Back in the US, pressure mounted on General Langley and the Africa Command. Many in Congress asked, "Why is the Sahel slipping from our hands?" A classified report leaked to international media said Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger could soon form a defensive pact with Russia and China. Western allies grew concerned not just about gold, but also about uranium, needed for nuclear energy. Burkina Faso, though small, was now seen as a key piece in a global chessboard. On May 15, 2025, U.S. Secretary of State released a statement. "We urge Burkina Faso to return to democratic rule. Continued alignment with anti-democratic powers will have consequences." Traoré responded the next morning in a fiery speech. "Democracy means nothing when your people are hungry. We are not anti-West. We are pro-Burkina Faso." Crowds once again filled the streets shouting, "We stand with Traoré!" In a surprising turn, a peaceful march was held in Ouagadougou by school children. Hundreds of them in school uniforms walked through the city holding flowers and photos of Captain Traoré. It was organized by teachers saying, "He gave us books instead of bullets." The images went viral. Even critics of the junta were moved. One photo showed a boy placing a flower at the statue of Thomas Sankara with a note that read, "Captain Traoré, finish what Sankara started." The story of Burkina Faso is still being written. Captain Traoré is not perfect. His critics say he holds too much power, censors the media, and silences opposition. But to millions of Burkinabe, he is not a dictator. He is a defender. This is a new chapter in African history where old powers are being challenged. And a new generation is saying, "We will write our own future." What happens next? Only time will tell. But one thing is clear. The people of Burkina Faso have found their voice, and they will not be silent again. Just weeks after the U.S. warning, a Russian delegation quietly landed in Ouagadougou. They met with Traoré behind closed doors at the presidential palace. The meeting was brief but symbolic. Russia offered military training, intelligence-sharing tools, and most importantly, support at the United Nations. They called it a friendship of resistance, but some advisors warned Traoré. One, named Colonel Ouattara, said, "Mr. President, the world is watching. If you lean too far toward Moscow, Washington will treat you like a threat." Traoré responded, "I don't want to lean east or west. I just want us to stand on our own." Still, the deal went ahead. Burkina Faso received 2 helicopters and 40 advisors from Russia. Inside the Army's underground command center, the mood was growing intense. Attacks from jihadist groups were increasing. 2 villages in the north had been burned. A humanitarian convoy was ambushed. Traoré stared at a giant map covered in red zones. He slammed his fist on the table. "This is our land. We cannot lose it to men who wear masks and carry foreign weapons." Some believed those weapons were being supplied from outside Africa, smuggled in through Libya or Sudan. A few even whispered about secret Western connections to armed groups in the Sahel, though no proof ever came out. Then came a shocking development. A top officer in the Burkina Faso military, Brigadier Serré, was caught leaking military plans to a foreign embassy. He was arrested at dawn. His phone held documents, voice notes, and plans to expose Traoré's weaknesses to international agencies. When interrogated, he confessed. "I thought I was saving the country from war," he said, "but maybe I was just serving old masters." His arrest shook the government. Even Traoré looked troubled. He sat alone that night, staring at the stars, and asked his security chief, "How do you lead a revolution when even your own men don't believe?" To reconnect with the people, Traoré did something unexpected. He traveled without notice to a remote gold mining village called Beni. He sat with miners, ate with them, slept under the open sky with the villagers. One miner, a boy no older than 19, looked at him and said, "I've never seen a president in my life. They only come here when we die." Traoré smiled and said, "I'm not a president. I'm a servant, but I'll fight for your future." That visit was captured by a phone camera and went viral across Africa. Suddenly, even critics from other countries started asking, "Why don't our leaders walk among us like this?" In Mali and Niger, similar rallies began to take place. People carried pictures of Traoré alongside their own leaders. They called it the Sahel Uprising. In Sierra Leone, university students held debates about whether Africa needed more leaders like him. Even in South Africa and Kenya, social media users praised Traoré for standing up to Western pressure. One popular African influencer tweeted, "Whether you agree with his methods or not, Captain Traoré has done something rare. He has given Africans the courage to say no." France could no longer stay silent. On July 2nd, President Macron held a press conference in Paris. "We have no problem with African independence," he said, "but we must ensure stability and human rights." But few in Burkina Faso believed him. Too many remembered the decades of French control, silent deals, and resources being shipped to Europe while African villages stayed poor. In Ouagadougou, people chanted, "We are not your colony." With pressure building, Traoré wrote a bold letter to the African Union. He called for a new African monetary system, a Pan-African army to defend the continent, control of all foreign military bases in Africa. The letter ended with this line: "If Africa must be free, we must free ourselves. Not tomorrow, not in 10 years, but now." The AU was shaken. Some members supported the vision. Others feared it would bring sanctions or even war. Then came the most dangerous twist. A mysterious man claiming to be an American intelligence agent met a mid-level Burkinabe official in Abidjan, Ivory Coast. He offered $5 million cash, safe passage to Europe, and U.S. protection. In return, he wanted a plan to remove Traoré without violence. The official, loyal to his country, pretended to agree, but immediately alerted Traoré's inner circle. For the second time, a foreign-backed coup attempt had been prevented. Traoré went silent for 3 days. He was said to be praying, meditating, and seeking guidance. When he returned, his voice was stronger than ever. Captain Ibrahim Traoré now walks a lonely path, loved by many, feared by others, hunted by some, and watched by the world. He is not just leading Burkina Faso. He is challenging a system that has ruled Africa for over 100 years. But his journey is dangerous. If he succeeds, he could become the new Sankara. If he fails, he could be remembered as another fallen rebel. Only time will tell. But one thing is clear. On that day, when a foreign general tried to belittle him, the people of Burkina Faso did not hide. They rose. And in their voices, the world heard something ancient, powerful, and unforgettable. This is Africa. This is ours. And we are awake now.